And chaos reigns in the Western Cape as violent taxi strike over impounded vehicles continue. Last night, a city depot was petrol bombed, damaging several state vehicles. And minibus taxi operators claim they are being targeted with aggressive arrests and confiscations, And at least the 6 Golden Arrow buses have also been torched during the protest action. And the company is in court today. eNCA reporter Nobesuthu Hejana is tracking the matters for us. Nobesuthu, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we heard from Santaco that the strike is likely to continue until next week, but it's had quite a devastating impact, not only the inconvenience for commuters, but the economy of the Western Cape.
Certainly, Cindy. In fact, we've heard from the city of Cape Town about those numerous incidents of violence, and especially when it comes to Golden Arrow Bus Company, where about 6 buses have been set alight since the beginning of the stay away by the Santaco in the province. But we're joined by Mr. Yunus from Golden Arrow just to tell us about the incidents and also the court order that has been granted this morning.
We're very pleased that the Judge Pat Gamble approved the order, and the order he makes very express that the taxi associations are to stop intimidating, harassing, and destroying the property of Golden Arrow or hurting the passengers and its employees. The judge recognized that he was moved by the video images of taxis being set alight with passengers in it, and he has appealed to all the taxi associations to stop this conduct, and he recognized that it presents a real danger to public safety and public transportation. So he's also asked that all news companies and publish this order he has made widely so that all could be said to know of the order that the judge has made, and all would see fit to respect it. It is so that if this order is not respected and complied with, those found guilty can be held in contempt of court and imprisoned.
How are you planning to?
That they have denied claims of any involvement. The leaders of Santaco going as far as cautioning their members from being engaged in violence. Historically, we know they have distanced themselves. How do you begin to prove that it is them that are inciting the violence?
We have more than sufficient proof, and that's why we've obtained the court order. Almost invariably what happens whenever there is a taxi demonstration, almost immediately fire is set to the buses or trains, whichever is the alternate mode of transportation. Now, it's not a coincidence. It cannot be a coincidence when this happens time and time again. It is now more than apparent to everyone and anyone, including the police, the courts, the prosecution, that there is a connection between the demonstration that is launched by the taxi associations and the damage and destruction of buses and the injury that's been caused to passengers.
For commuters that are looking to go to work tomorrow, given that it's Monday, what is your message to them? Are you going to provide more buses? We know that they're also stopped right at the entry points of the volatile communities.
We as a bus company would be running our normal operation. We've also taken extraordinary measures to ensure that our buses will not be attacked. In addition, we've got cameras on our buses and around our buses that will clearly identify and prove whomsoever it is who dares to attack a bus. They will be caught on camera doing that, and that will be all part of the measures we take to prove who is behind the violence. In addition, the police will be on all the routes, and everyone, the city, the police, ourselves, are all committed to ensuring the public is safe and there is no harm to any of the passengers who use any mode of transportation. And we all appeal to the taxi associations to appeal to their members, supporters, not to engage in any acts of violence. And I remind everyone, and I restate this, every single bus has got a camera on it. These cameras will clearly capture and identify anyone who attempts to vandalize a bus. So this is a clear warning I'm giving to all and everyone. Be careful, because if you cross the line and engage in acts of violence, we will capture you, we shall prosecute you, and we will ensure you go to jail.
How are you planning to enforce this interdict? Because like my colleague has mentioned that the taxi associations have been distancing themselves since day one from the acts of violence, and you are relying on the historic proof or some of the alleged proof that you are mentioning.
It's no more historic and alleged. We have got footage of the attacks that occurred last week on the buses. It's based on the evidence we have of who did it, when they did it, how they did it, that has persuaded the judge that there is more than sufficient evidence. And that is why he granted the interdict.
But with no one arrested at this moment, can you still say and confidently say so that it is Santaco that is behind this?
I can most confidently say that we have got the evidence to ensure we make a correct identification.
Not to cut you off, what kind of an evidence you have?
As I've indicated to you, we've got camera footage.
Lastly, before I let
And
you
that
go,
is the
on
best
my
kind of
side,
evidence you can have, where you've got a person captured on camera doing an act of violence.
At this stage, do you know perhaps how much
to damage? I know my colleague is also inundated with questions, but I do want to ask you before I let you go, what is the cost to Golden Arrow Bus Company, and to this day, how many buses in this recent strike have officially been torched?
6 buses have been torched, and a bus cost less the insurance about 1.6 million in damages. In addition, what you suffer is people no longer want to use any transport. Everyone stays at home, so you lose the revenue for days. Not just us, but throughout Cape Town. There's no bread in shops, there's no milk in shops. Various shops are running out of supplies because no one's able to use the roads. No workers are able to come to work. It's just had a devastating effect on everyone in the city.
Mr. Yunus, we really do thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was Mr. Yunus, who is from Golden Arrow Bus Company, talking about the financial impact as well as them after this interdict that was granted, and the fact that they do have sufficient evidence to arrest, or rather to hold Santaco responsible for this. I'll try and ask my colleague Zaid to take off the camera from the mic stand as we are trying to approach the lawyers of Santaco. We do know that they were represented in court, and they've also made their arguments in court. And just to start here, okay, we will wait for all right. Sir, just tell us about the proceedings in court.
Today we came back. Hang on a second. I'm not used to this. Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Can you just take it a bit further away? Thank you. All right. As you know, today was Golden Arrow brought an application for an interim interdict. We are very happy to have come to court. We can assure the general public that Santaco is trying their very best to try and mediate the situation. The unrest and the damage that was occasioned, and unfortunately one person that has passed away, is of great concern to the organization, who regret that that has happened. So the issue here is not whether Santaco was the perpetrators, which we deny. They're not the perpetrators, but obviously protesters came into the mix. So we agreed to an interdict for the greater good, to assure and show the public in Cape Town that we are committed to the interest of the individual who needs to get to work and live their lives. So this is of great concern to us as an organization, and also to the court, who has heard us. And so on the 23rd we will come back for the final interdict, at which time we hope that all of these matters would have been resolved.
One of the issues raised by the judge is video evidence that a Golden Arrow has accumulated linking Santaco to the ongoing violence. What do you say to that?
I'm not aware of that video footage. We haven't seen that. So I can't comment on that, unfortunately.
I want to know, with Santaco, especially with the feud between the City of Cape Town and Santaco, will Santaco be taking any legal actions against the City of Cape Town? We've heard Mr. J.P. Smith saying that for every incident, they will impound about 25 vehicles. Has Santaco made any decisions to take the city and the law enforcement to court?
We have brought an application challenging the constitutionality of the bylaw, or certain provisions of the bylaw, which is set down for February next year. I don't have the date as of yet. So we are in discussions there. Opposing papers are due in August, I believe, end of August or September. And then we'll take it from that. But in the meantime, we will contact the attorneys on the other side. The attorneys dealing with the Golden Arrow matter, unfortunately, is not part and parcel of this. As you know, the issue is the implementation of the bylaw. We have heard today that the City of Cape Town denies that they're impounding taxis in terms of the bylaw, but in terms of national legislation. We haven't had time yet to gather the data and the evidence, so I can't take it any further than that. But I can assure you that we had a interim deal, so to speak, with the City of Cape Town that they will not impound in terms of the bylaw. And unfortunately, as you are aware, in the papers it does say that the bylaw is being implemented, and there was also radio addresses to this effect that it was vehicles are impounded in terms of the bylaw. So the court still has to determine the constitutionality of that. So it's not as though we have to institute it, we have already instituted it.
Counsel, we do apologize if we startled you, but can we get your name and your surname for record purposes?
Advocate M.A. Basson.
Thank you so much.
Advocate Basson, I just want to find out, 27 drivers were arrested on Tuesday during those clashes. Do we know whether they will be pressing charges?
Sorry?
27 drivers were arrested on Tuesday during those clashes. Do we know if they will be taking any legal matters against the city? I haven't had instructions of that, and as you know, we received the papers this morning, or I received the papers this morning. So we will be working through the weekend and next week, get statements from the drivers, get statements from city officials, and so forth, and then consider what we're going to do next. All right,
unfortunately, we're speaking in a little bit of a lacuna at the moment.
Not a problem. Thank you so much, sir. Well, that was Advocate Basson representing Santaco, talking about some of the papers that they still need to receive from their clients, and also accepting the interdict that was tabled in front of the Western Cape High Court regarding, or rather to stop Golden Arrow, saying that they want to interdict Santaco through the violent actions that we've seen throughout the week since the announcement of that stay away.
Nobesuthu, and thank you so much for also finding the balance in the different voices with this whole litigation process. It's unfortunate that while the drivers expressed their frustration through a protest, that certain rights and property has been violated. So that is unacceptable. But nonetheless, we are still on this matter. It looks like the strike action may continue. At this stage, the evidence seems to suggest, at least from Golden Arrows, that they already have footage on camera. They know who instigated the violence and the damage to their buses, 6 buses having been torched. On the other side, the lawyers saying that they haven't seen the evidence to that effect. But that's a Nobesuthu Hejana, a reporter, eNCA reporter out at the Western Cape High Court, where that matter was heard today.